if you're a Leo born July 23rd to August 22nd, what can you expect for the month of April 2017? Let's tune in and find out. Okay, so Leos, I feel like some of you have just like broke out, like you've just like, woohoo, like you've just got somehow freedom. So I don't know if you've broken out of jail, if you've broken up in a relationship, or you've broken out of a job you hated, or you've broken out of your depression. But there's just this breakthrough energy of happiness and, you know, back in life, back involved in life. So whatever was kind of like holding you back has been set free. So whatever's gone on for you, this is a good thing. So don't second guess the choices you've made recently, because they feel like they were really solid and good choices, okay? So let's look first at those of you who are in a committed romantic relationship. What can you expect? So some of you may still be dialoguing about some challenges that you've recently had, and some of you may have not decided to move forward, and you may have recently, you know, broken up or settled on divorcing or settled on moving out from one another. I think that this is probably a healthy thing for you. It doesn't feel like it was something that was short-sighted. It feels like it was something, you know, well thought out. For those of you that are together, it feels like, I mean, Leo energy absolutely feels like it's one extreme or the other, okay? It either feels like you've just broken up and you're done, or you're so committed and so connected and so in love, right? For those of you that are in relationship. And it really feels like April's a great month. It could be that you've taken the whole month off and you're going to go skiing in Europe, or you've taken the whole month off and you're, you know, renting a house and going to play golf. It just feels like all these amazing opportunities. And so it just feels like there's a lot of leisure happening for you, Leos, this month. You may be traveling the world. I don't really see you setting home, which is really interesting because there is a lot of retrograde energy happening this month. So there may, when you are at home, it does feel like you are kind of like working on yourself and revamping yourself. You may find yourself just wanting to do a home project and completely revamp your, you know, your living room or your bedroom or your whole house. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're just ripping everything apart and getting rid of a lot of stuff. So it really feels like spring cleaning. And I know I'm moving away from the relationship, but that relationship is at the same time something that you could be doing with your partner, right? So it could be that you're doing things together. Now, for those of you that are single, let's see what April holds in store for you. April is really about independence for you. As far as relationship goes, I feel like not immediately. I feel like I'm really independent. I'm really feeling, you know, what do I want? And for some of you, it may be, you know, getting your self-esteem back. It may be a little uncomfortable getting back out into the world. You maybe have just decided that, wow, you know, I'm newly single, or I haven't been dating for a while and I need to get back out there. So it's about kind of like building up your own self-esteem and feeling good about you. It does feel like there's some nice chemistry that can happen at the end of April. There's a new moon in Taurus, April 26th. And also Mercury goes retrograde April 9th to May 3rd. And that's always the planet of communication. That's always where we have a lot of problems with computers and challenges, and you're really recommended not to sign contracts, you know, but life goes on, right? If you have to sign a contract, you just always double and triple check things. Venus, the retrograde in Venus, which has to do with our love life, ends April 15th and starts to move forward. So it could be that an old flame or an old love, either you move to connect with them or they move to connect with you towards the end of April, early May, as a really nice open-hearted connection. Now, whether it goes anywhere, I don't know, but there's once you get out of the retrograde May 3rd, so by mid-May, you'll have a good sense of like, oh, I'm done with that person, or you know what? It's better the second time around or the third time around, how often it is that you're coming back together. So there could be that possibility. But you are going to see everything about that person in early to mid-May that had you go like this time out in the first place, like, wow, this is why I left them, or wow, this is why I didn't, you know, the relationship never worked. So the honeymoon will wear off really fast, or you'll be super in love in May. So if you're connecting with the old relationship, okay, it's not something that's going to kind of like hang around. It's either, you know, in and long term, or it's not happening. It feels like and it feels like you would know that in the month of May. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at career for Leos. Well, it feels like some of you have some new beginnings, and I feel like you've just maybe like hit a home run and you've got a new job or a new career that you're starting to build. It feels like there's some entrepreneur energy with it, so you may be able to create your own schedule, which is really great. Those of you that already are in a career, it feels like there's some accolades around it. So people may be noticing you and you may be getting praise for something that you've done. You want to be a little careful around a full moon in Libra, April 10th and 11th. There could be a little bit of I don't want to call it, it's not a backstabbing for you. It's more like a slap in the face where you could get, you know, Leos, you guys are strong and not everybody can handle your strong energy. So be careful around work. It could be that you either step on somebody's toes, or it could be that, you know, you've, you know, gone above your boss's head, or you stepped on your, you know, your colleague's toes, or you called somebody out and you were right and you called them out, but you embarrassed them, right? And so then they come at you, right? So you want to be careful. You want to be careful with your words, especially, and calling somebody out, because they are going to come after you. And even if you're right, it's better just to like be quiet around that full moon energy to avoid kind of confrontation. And it doesn't have to be at work. It could be a family relationship situation. I'm not necessarily getting it in your romantic life, but I'm getting it more in work area. So just be careful on how you talk to other people around that little full moon time, right? You just kind of want to keep it closed. Okay, so let's see about money for Leos. Definitely more money coming in this month, and so it feels like, you know, there may be an opportunity for some overtime, or for some of you, you may be picking up some new clients or another job. But it does feel like if you want more money, all you have to do is kind of like look around and sign up for it, because it feels like it's that easy. It's right there. You just have to focus on it, and that will make it happen. And it doesn't feel like it's long term. So you want to do it while you can, because it feels like that opportunity as we get further into June or July may not be there. So you kind of, you know, sometimes we think opportunities are going to be there for a long time, and I can always do that for them. No. So just know, if somebody's asking you to babysit or something, and you need the money, go do it, because it feels like it's a temporary position. It doesn't feel like this extra money is going to last for a long time, the opportunity anyway. Okay, so let's look at our health for Leos. Your bones are coming up. So for some of you, you may have had, a wrist injury or an ankle injury or shoulder injury, and just your bones are coming up as being careful and being tender, and that they're getting stronger. So as you become a little more physical this month, just, take it easy. Just remember that, you're being asked to kind of like just, take it easy. We do have Saturn retrograde April 6th to August 26th. And that particular retrograde has to do with relationships. It has us reviewing the relationships that we're in all areas of our life. It also has us kind of like looking, creating a new attitude towards obstacles. It has us look how we're manifesting our life. Is this the path I want to go? Is this how I want to be seen in the world? So it's kind of like a nice overview of our life these next couple of months. So you may find yourself exploring different ideas, or maybe even talking about moving or getting a different job, or maybe even adding a new pet to your life, or picking up, like I said, picking up and moving. So there's these different things that you're evaluating about how you make yourself known in the world, not only like who you are, but what you do for a living and where you live and those that you interact with, even down to your pets, right? And some of you may be letting pets go, the pet is now, it's time to say goodbye to the pet, that they've been around time, and you just know it's time to put them down, as sad as it is. There's also then opportunities for new pets, right? So there's this energy of really reevaluating relationships. Okay, so let's see if there's anything unexpected for Leos. Yeah, I think you're going to find that you're in a good place. And it feels like a good place that you've been in for a long time. It's almost like whatever you were doing for the last 6 months or 9 months, it's almost like the bubble's been burst. You're kind of like awake now, and you thought maybe you wanted that, but now you're awake and you go, wow, like, did I dodge a bullet? And you really feel like, wow, this is, I'm exploring life differently. And so it's about looking and seeing life differently, and you're going to feel so much better. It just feels like the month of April is really examining and redoing who you are, and you're going to feel so good about that. So don't let anybody tell you anything, right? I mean, and that's, you usually don't have to say that to Leos, but there's this other energy that's happening in the universe that kind of erodes our self-confidence with all these retrogrades happening. It gives us an opportunity to revisit ourselves, and sometimes we can be really harsh on ourselves, and a lot of Leos can be hard on themselves. They can go, well, I was short here, because a lot of you guys are so driven and you have such high expectations for yourself. If you fall a little bit short, then you're angry with yourself. Well, I was supposed to be married by now, or I was supposed to have 2 babies by now, or if I was supposed to, be, chief, whatever, engineer by now, right? Or I was supposed to have a $1 billion company by now, right? So you don't be so hard on yourself. So this month, really take the time to love and nurture yourself, and you're going to just feel better than ever. All right, Leos, thank you for listening. And if you like my intuitive astrology, please click like. Feel free to share it with your friends. And if you'd like to comment below, I'd love to read it. Anyway, thanks so much. Have a terrific April, and I'll connect with you again next month.